Hello and welcome. Just imagine your entire professional future could depend on one single thing, your name. Sounds unfair, doesn't it? Today we're going to take a very close look at how fair our system really is when it comes to that first, all-important opportunity in working life. So, picture this scenario. Two young people, both have the same school qualifications, the same grades, the same level of motivation. Both apply for the same apprenticeship position. But somehow only one of them regularly gets invited to an interview. The only visible difference on paper? The name. How on earth can that be? To answer this question, we need solid facts. And that's exactly what a crucial study by the Federal Institute for Vocational Education and Training provides. The researchers Beicht and Granato wanted to know precisely, what is really behind this inequality? What makes this study so compelling is its method. The researchers did not take the easy route. They combed through thousands of real applications and systematically examined one possible explanation after another. They adjusted for grades and qualifications, factored in the social status of parents, and even looked at what the apprenticeship market looked like in each city. The goal was clear: to create truly equal starting conditions in order to find the real reason for the differences. And that brings us now to the heart of the matter. Let's go ahead and debunk the most common myths you hear again and again when this topic comes up. You hear it all the time: whoever has the better grades gets the best chances. That sounds completely fair at first, doesn't it? After all, performance should pay off. But is that really true here? Well, unfortunately, the study reveals something rather sobering. Even when we compare only young people with exactly the same grades and qualifications, the success rate for applicants with a migration background is significantly lower. In plain terms, performance alone clearly cannot explain this gap. Okay, so if it's not directly the grades, what about the environment, the famous personal connections? The assumption is often that families without a migration background simply have better networks that give their children a helping hand. And of course, the researchers checked exactly that too. They essentially calculated out the influence of family background and social contacts. The result? Yes, networks help a little, but they are far from being the explanation. Even with the same family background, the disadvantage for young people with a migration background persists. One last argument you often hear: well, maybe families with a migration background simply tend to live more often in regions where there are fewer apprenticeship positions anyway. In that case, it would be a purely geographical problem and would have nothing to do with origin at all. And here comes the decisive point. The researchers pooled all of these factors: school grades, social environment, regional market. And yes, they explain part of the inequality. But even after accounting for all of that, a huge portion of the disadvantage simply remains. A gap that cannot be explained by any of these factors. A remainder that statistically hangs on just one single characteristic: migration background. So what does this unexplained gap mean? Well, the researchers' answer is one that turns our understanding of fairness pretty much upside down. It is a case of structural disadvantage. And that is the crucial point. The problem does not lie with the young people themselves, not with their motivation, their abilities, or how well their application is written. The problem lies in the processes of the system, in unconscious biases and barriers that are embedded in the selection processes of companies themselves. And this is not just the opinion of the researchers. Even the Expert Council on Integration and Migration, one of the highest authorities in Germany, confirms exactly this. What we are dealing with here is a systemic problem, not individual failure. But this first hurdle at the start of a career is unfortunately often just the beginning. Let's take a look at what consequences this has, and, very importantly, what we can do about it. You know, an early rejection simply because of a name is not just disappointing. The study shows that it triggers a real domino effect. The search for an apprenticeship takes longer, many end up stuck in frustrating holding patterns. And even when they do find a place, it is often in occupations that do not match their qualifications and have higher dropout rates. This first unfair hurdle casts a long shadow over the entire career path. The good news, however, is that this is not an unsolvable problem. The research also points to very clear solutions. For example, anonymized applications, where names and photos only come into play much later in the process, have proven extremely effective at drastically increasing equal opportunity in the first round. Equally important are mentoring programs and simply transparent, fair selection criteria within companies. The key question is therefore no longer whether a problem exists. The data are unambiguous. The question is, if talent and qualification are equally distributed but opportunities clearly are not, how can we all contribute to changing the structures so that in the end it is truly performance that counts, and not the name? Today's video covered a study by Mona Granato and Ursula Beicht from the Federal Institute for Vocational Education and Training, published in 2011. Do you have questions or topic suggestions? Feel free to write to me at YouTube at EmpowerMigra.com. EmpowerMigra, understanding begins with listening.